Hi, I'm Phil Holland. I'm a director of photography based in Los Angeles, California. One of the most recent trends in the motion picture industry has been the development of larger than Super 35mm sensors in digital cinema cameras. These new formats, such as VistaVision, large format, or full frame 35, have presented some creative and technical challenges for many people who are more familiar working on Super 35mm lenses or those who have invested in Super 35mm optics. Lenses are designed with an optimized projected image circle for a specific format size. In the case of Super 35mm lenses being used on these larger formats, often they would drastically occlude coverage of the image plane and create a porthole effect or a hard matte style of vignette. Additionally, due to larger format sensors' bigger surface area when compared to Super 35mm, a lens's focal length would produce a wider field of view than you would normally experience. For instance, many would consider about 35mm a normal field of view on Super 35mm, but on VistaVision approximately 55mm would produce the same field of view. Which leads to the subject of this particular test. Using the Duclos Lenses 1.7x expander, we can enlarge the projected image circle from a designed for Super 35mm lens to enable us to use it on these larger formats. For this test, we look at two popular FUJINON zooms, the Premiere 18-85 T2 and the Cabrio 19-90 T2.9, then compare them with full-frame prime lenses at the equivalent focal lengths in both Super 35mm format size, as well as utilizing the Duclos 1.7x expander on the larger VistaVision format. The general purpose of this test is to examine the image quality and lens character between both filming methods and formats. Hopefully you can watch this a few times as the shots transition between each comparison. There are some important notes to be made regarding using an expander to enlarge the Super 35mm image circle. Mainly, that comes in the form of light loss. In the case of the Duclos 1.7x expander, you lose approximately 1.5 stops of light when it's attached, with the added benefit of full coverage on the larger format. The expander itself features very high quality corrected optics in a sturdy PL mount with a built-in back focus adjustment. When looking at the shot comparisons, there are a few things to observe. When using an expander, much like when using all lenses, if you stop down, you can improve the general image quality. Stopping down also helps eliminate lens vignetting. At maximum aperture, the image quality holds very well with the Duclos expander, but it's always good to know how to get the best image quality from a setup. Generally speaking, I like to shoot with expanders one stop down. On a more practical usage note, both the FUJINON Premiere 18-85 and the Cabrio 19-90 are longer zoom lenses. With the expander added into the optical chain, that adds a bit more length. I'd strongly recommend using rod support for longer zoom lens setups. This is a common mindset to minimize strain on the PL mount as well as producing a more rigid lens operating platform. Overall, there is a great deal of potential using an expander like this. Having access to the large working range of common and popular focal lengths found in these Super 35mm zooms, enlarged the new larger format sensor technologies provides a familiarity when going between the two formats and incorporating the expander. Outside of the light loss, the lenses themselves don't really operate any differently, but you do gain some of the common benefits of the larger format sensor technology, like increased resolution. I hope this test has been informative and useful for those of you looking to use Super 35mm lenses on larger formats via an expander.